The land explored by our ancestors extends from Altai to the White Sea. The scientific expedition Trails of Nomads continues to unveil the path of our forefathers. Its leader is a true citizen of the world. He believes, without a deep understanding of the past, there is no future. Each journey is focused on a detailed study of history and culture. Pilgrim of the 21st century, Sochicalco, with a team of scientists, has already visited more than 50 countries. Scientists reveal the exciting secrets of the past. Watch an amazing story of a great journey in the Trails of Nomads program. Today's Trails of Nomads episode presents Wall of Sochicalco's pyramid of the god Quetzal-Coatl keeps an image of a cross-legged sitting man. What does this mean? What are the similarities between the Mayan and the Kazakh calendars? What is the custom of the Indian tribes similar to the ritual of the Turks asking for rain with sacrifice during a drought? Altai is the Golden Cradle of the American Indians. Participants of the scientific expedition Trails of Nomads have found arguments confirming this assumption in Sochicalco, located 2 hours from Mexico City in the western state of Morelos. The history of this ancient settlement began in 200 BC. As a city, it formed approximately between 700 to 900 years. All ancient buildings and structures that have survived to this day were built during the mentioned period.
Осы тұрған біздің қаламызда 20 мың сыртында халық тұрған.
More than 20,000 people lived in this city. Now you see the largest area of the city. Originally, the city was built as a place of worship for God. All pyramids and temples served as the worship places where man became closer to God.
Жұртты Құдайға жақындату, Құдайға табындыру деген сияқты.
Sochicalco was mainly inhabited by the Toltec tribes that belonged to the Uto-Aztec language group. The name of the city translated from Aztec into English means House of Flowers. Judging by the name, it was once a flourishing, very developed city. Researchers managed to read some inscriptions on the walls of some buildings. They say that in the 8th century, there was a large congress of scientists. During that period, a huge number of architectural facilities were built in the city. The builders possessed amazing skills. Their secrets are still not disclosed. For example, if you go up to this temple and clap your hands, the echo that you will hear transforms into the singing of birds. Now we have come to the second square. It is slightly smaller compared to the first, but it was also important. This is evidenced by the altar located in the center. This was the venue for various rituals. Earlier we talked about the city of Teotihuacan. After its destruction, Sochicalco appeared. It became the center of entire Central America. In fact, Sochicalco is a certain continuation of Teotihuacan, as evidenced by similar architecture. For example, this pyramid of a feathered serpent is a place where people worshipped the god Quetzal-Coatl. Local rulers were grateful for the power. The worldview of the inhabitants of both cities is similar, which in turn is akin to the Kazakhs. Both Indians and Kazakhs consider the snake sacred. If it got into the house, people would give it some milk.
Ешбір жерде мынандай фресканы көрген жоқ. Бұл енді фреска. Осы фресканы көру үшін ғана.
I have never seen such a fresco anywhere. It is worth coming here just to see it, and nothing else is needed. In the center, there is another altar, but unfortunately the stones at the top have not been preserved. Yet, we know that there was an altar.
Мұның үстіндегі мынау жаңағы тұрған тастары белгілері сақталмаған. Бірақ мұның алтар екенін біз білеміз.
While studying the murals, head of expedition Sochicalco discovered an interesting detail. There are images of men on the snake. Most interesting, men are sitting cross-legged. Kazakhs usually sit in the same position. There are some prohibitions that have been passed down from generation to another and have survived to this day. For example, do not hug your knees. Do not put your hands on hips. This pyramid of the Indians is also in some way connected with similar beliefs.
Бізде де ерте заманнан келе жатқан өте үлкен
We have dances that have been known since ancient times. One of them is a dance named Jilansha, that means snake dance. We can say that this fact speaks of a certain connection between the Kazakhs and Indians. Indians also have snake dance, Quetzal-Coatl dance.
Бар деп айтуға болады. Өйткені олар да жыланның биін, Quetzal-Coatl'дың биін билейді.
Indians who lived in Sochicalco especially honored the god Quetzal-Coatl. They compared him to the star Venus. In general, all celestial bodies for the Indians were vital. This is proved by the location of the pyramids and this observatory in the cave.
Мынау обсерваторияға кірейін деп келе жатырмыз. Бұл да бір енді ғажаптың біреуі.
We want to visit the observatory. This is one of the miracles built in 7th, 8th centuries. This is a very important facility. Local people studied the solar system and stars. This indicates a high level of civilization.
Тек қана өте жоғары дәрежелі цивилизациядағы адамдардың ғана қолынан келетін нәрсе.
From an observatory in a cave, ancient Native American astronomers examined celestial bodies, carried out calculations and observations to compile a calendar. Such studies required a high level of scientific knowledge and a holistic worldview. The Indians worshipped the sky and sought to learn more about it. The concept of Kok, or blue sky, is directly related to the Turks. There were plenty of astronomical complexes similar to the American Observatory in Kazakhstan. One of them is Arcane. Scientists call it the City of the Sun. This is another fact indicating the common roots of Indians and Turks.
Мынау жоғарыда көріп тұрғандарыңыз обсерваторияның бірінші мынау күннен түсетін.
What you see above is the first opening of the observatory designed for the fall of sunlight. The beam penetrates and falls to the floor. However, the beam is very dim now. It is clear on May the 14th and 15th and July the 28th and 29th.
15-ің арасында, не болмаса, июльдің 28 мен 29-ның арасында.
Here the Indians played the ball. Sochicalco has 3 such sites. The game, which features elements of football and basketball, is called Pok-ta-Pok. But this is a more religious game than a sports one. The captain of the winning team was sacrificed.
Мұнда қазір тағы да бір ғажайып объекті көріп тұрмыз. Бұл доп ойнайтын алаң. Мынау көріп тұрғандарыңыз допты түсіретін.
Here we see another amazing object. This is a ball court. Here are 2 stones that resemble current basketball basket. Later the stones fell and they were laid on the ground so that people could see. These are seats for people. And here 2 teams played. Teams needed to score a ball. But according to the rules, the ball should not be touched with hands and feet. To score a goal, team members could use the hips, shoulders, and elbows.
Бойынша қолмен, аяқпен тебуге болмайды. Тек қана жамбаспен, иықпен и шынтақпен. Сонымен ғана ұру керек.
The ball weighs nearly 4 kilograms. It's not easy to throw such a heavy ball into a high basket. It requires certain knowledge and skill. In ancient days, Turks played similar games with the ball, as evidenced by archaeological excavations. Famous Korkut Ata wrote about the game of our ancestor. The Turk Oghuz played a game with a ball, which was called tepik. Such games didn't exist anywhere in Europe. Moreover, the word ball did not exist at all. Participants of the scientific expedition, Trails of Nomads, completed their work in Sochicalco. The last place to visit here was a suburban museum. Scientists saw many historical monuments found during excavations on the site of the ancient city, like Teotihuacan. It developed rapidly and also mysteriously disappeared.
Жан-жағындағы тайпалар келіп бұл қаланы.
Neighboring tribes made aggressive raids several times. Everything was destroyed and burned. As a result, in the 10th century, the city almost disappeared. However, there was a small part of its inhabitants who tried to save and restore the city. This effort lasted until the 14th century, but eventually failed. The scientific expedition team continued their work on the Yucatan Peninsula. Like in the city of Sochicalco, there are a lot of pyramids and playgrounds for playing the ball. This is the city of Ekbalam, related to the Mayan civilization. The settlement has been known from the 3rd century BC until the arrival of the Spaniards. Ekbalam occupied an area of 12 square kilometers. Mainly, walls of buildings are decorated with sophisticated frescoes. The city was one of the cradle civilization. This monument resembles a stone sculpture of the Turks. The region also had the concept of three worlds and a life in three dimensions.
Маялардың түсінігі бойынша үш дүние бар.
According to Maya, there are three worlds. The most important and dominant is the sun. The second world is the earth with all human life. The next is a dungeon, that is, the world after the death. This is the gateway to the other world. Maya is not one people, it is a group of peoples with a similar language, faith, religion, and most of these peoples have much in common with the Turks. First of all, the similarity of language. For example, the number 1, 2, 3 are pronounced the same and also have common meaning among the Turks and Maya. Such verbs as kel, ket, shik have common pronunciation, spelling, and meaning. This provides answers to many questions.
10 мың жыл бұрын кеткен біздің туыстарымызға қонаққа келіп отырмыз.
We're visiting relatives who moved from their native land 10,000 years ago. They met us very warmly. Our guide Natalia told them that we're kindred people. In turn, they welcomed us, told and showed a lot.
Майялардың тілінде kin деген сөз бар. Kin деген
In the Mayan language, there is a word kin, similar to the Kazakh word kindik. It means umbilical cord. In Maya, the word kindik means both the umbilical cord and the day. Kazakhs call Altai the umbilical cord of the earth. It turns out everything came from Altai. For all Turks, Kazakhstan is the ancestral home. Participants of the scientific expedition Trails of Nomads, which collect information about the Altai roots of the American Indians, got acquainted with another historical settlement of the Mayan tribes. This is the city of Chichen Itza, which is one of the 7 new wonders of the world and is under the protection of UNESCO. The city was formed in the 5th century and existed for more than 7 centuries.
Қазір тұрған жеріміз Chichen Itza деген үлкен комплекс Майя халқының.
Now we are in Chichen Itza. That is a large historical complex of Mayan tribes. The Kukulcan Temple is the unique structure. It can be called a snake with wings or a dragon. During its construction, various acoustic techniques were used. If you go up here and clap your hands, then you can notice that the sound is one, but the echo is completely different. That is, the sound is similar to the song of birds. Now listen. See? As if the bird made a sound.
Шаңқылдаған дауысы. Қазір қараңыздар, міне. Құс шаңқылдап атқан сияқты.
Kukulcan is as important as the god Quetzal-Coatl. Therefore, as a sign of special respect for him, a pyramid was built on 18 hectares of land. Its height is 24 meters. A unique object impresses not only with its beauty but also with the accuracy of its construction. At a time when the day and night become equal in duration, the shadow falling from the pyramid resembles winged snake. Moreover, during the vernal equinox, the snake rises. In the fall, on the contrary, it goes down. This is directly related to the number of steps and their size. On all 4 sides, there are 364 steps, with a unifying 365th step. Having examined all the subtleties of the pyramid, scientists came to the conclusion that the Kukulcan Temple is, in fact, a Mayan tribal calendar.
олардың керемет жаңағы архитекторлар болған. Керемет математик.
They had excellent mathematicians, good sculptors. All calculations in the works were very accurate. They knew all laws of mathematics. Thanks to this, they made beautiful calendars. The Mayan tribe had 17 types of different calendars. One of them consisted of 260 days. That is, 260 days is 20 times 13. In the Mayan calendars, the number 13 is mandatory. They associated this with the 13-fold rotation of the moon around the earth. And after all, there are a lot of things connected with the number 13. For example, a 13-year-old boy is considered to be the man of the house. There is a 13-year life cycle of a person.
13 мүшел. Солай ма? Тіпті әйелдердің физиологиялық процестері 13 рет қайталанады.
Scientists pay particular attention to 3 of the 17 Mayan calendars available. First of all, this is a calendar called Hab. It consists of 18 months and 5 nameless days. The second is the 260-day Tzolk'in calendar. According to it, the Mayan priests appointed the time for various religious rituals. The third calendar is called Long Count. It began from 13 BC and lasted until the end of 2012. There were many who associated the completion of this calendar with the end of the world. Mayan astronomers made all calculations which are sometimes superior to modern ones at such observatories.
Майялардың мәдениетінде 260 күндік күнтізбе әйел мен баланың нәрестенің күнтізбесі дейді екен.
In Mayan culture, the 260-day calendar is called the calendar of women and babies. What does it mean? According to Maya estimates, 1 month consists of 28 days. We have the concept of 9 months and 9 days. That is, the mother carries her baby in the womb for 9 months and 9 days. And if you multiply 9 by 28, you get 252 days. And if you add 9 days, you get 261 days. It turns out that the Mayan and the Kazakh calendars are the same.
Ана 9 күнді қоссаңыз 261 күн. Сонда майялардың календарі мен қазақтың календары күнтізбесі бірдей болып тұр ғой.
Common historical roots are also reflected in the stone sculpture. The monument Chakmul is located in the Temple of Warriors. The warrior holds a cup. The ancient Turks have a lot of similar stone sculptures with bowls filled with a white drink.
Алдында табақ сияқты тас, бұл майялардың жаңағы әдет-ғұрып бойынша бұл құдайға, Чакмолға дәстүрлері бойынша.
Here, the stone looks like a bowl. Sacrifices to the god Chakmul were placed in it. The human heart, the lungs were put in this bowl. People believe that the god Chakmul would be grateful and would send people a rain, a good harvest, and prosperity.
Құдай Чакмол адамдарға көңілі бұрылсын, жауын берсін, егін берсін, молшылық берсін деп.
The word Chakmul, or rather the part mul, is very similar to the Kazakh mol, which means a lot. More linguistic similarity was found in toponyms. For example, on the Yucatan Peninsula, there is a lake Bacalar, and the Kazakhs have such a word, it means frogs. Both words are exactly the same in spelling, pronunciation, and meaning. This well is a silent proof to the fact that the Mayan tribes are close to the Turks. It is located in the vicinity of Chichen Itza. The well is considered sacred. They believe that the rain god Shak lived in it. During periods of drought, people prayed and asked God for rain, performed a ritual of sacrifice that is very similar to the Turkic ritual called Tasatek Beru, that is sacrifice. It was done so that God would send rain to the land. The name of the Chichen Itza well means Mayan well.
Бұл майя халқының өте қастерлейтін, қасиетті құдығы. Бұл
This is a very important well for the Mayan people. In addition, this is a miraculous well. Previously, there was a flat area. As a result of the water movement of the underground lakes, a well was formed. That is, real, natural well.
Аққан уақытында бірте отырып, жер түсіп кеткен ортасы. Содан барып, мынадай құдық пайда болған. Кәдімгі табиғаттың өзі құдығы.
There is port city Tulum, located 150 kilometers from Chichen Itza. According to scientist Adil Akhmetov, who is studying the Altai origin of the Indians, the word Tulum is very similar to the Kazakh word Tulim, which means hair, braid. The city also has striking architecture.
Анау теңіз жағынан келе жатқан кемелер рифтің ортасында 100 метр ғана жерден өте алады екен.
These ships can pass in the middle of the reef. There is a passage about 100 meters wide. In the case of even a slight deviation from the course, the vessels will collide with the reef and crash. Therefore, the temple serves as a guide. A slight deviation can cause a serious consequence. Ships go strictly in the middle of the aisle. There must be space on both sides.
Ана тесік жабылып қалады. Сондықтан олар тура ортасынан жүріп отқан екі тесік көрініп тұру керек, ылғи.
Maya is a mysterious people. They built beautiful cities, but later, for some reason, they left them. Why did they do that? No one knows about this. Scientists still cannot explain the reasons, but the fact that the Mayan moved to America from Altai is evidenced by many historical monuments and settlements. Mayan tribes once lived in Guatemala, Honduras, Belize. Now we are on the Mexican Yucatan Peninsula. The main part of Maya lived here. All mentioned places had very close trade and economic ties.
Майялардың ең көп тұрған жері. Сондықтан 4-5 ел бірмен бірі күшті сауда жасаған.
The next stop of the scientific expedition Trails of Nomads is Guatemala. Scientists arrived in another Mayan city, Tikal. Watch the next episode to learn more interesting facts.